Many years ago, in about 1995, 96 time, I was invited to go on an Excel course by a company in the city of Cape Town, and wanted me to come on courses because I was selling computer equipment and courses and doing all kinds of things like that. And they thought that if I come on one of their courses, I would see how good they are and I would recommend them. So I said I would like to learn VBA, Visual Basic Applications. I already knew BASIC. I'd learned it on Apples in 1979 and taught myself. And then when I was in England in about 1992, I'd written a 4,000-line macro in Excel for a shipping company, and it was to do forecasting and very interesting workbooks and spreadsheets and very comprehensive and complex system. And it ran live, so you could watch it running and creating spreadsheets and copying data and creating calculations, and it was really amazing. And that was in Excel version 4, but Excel version 5 had come out and it had Visual Basic Applications, and you couldn't really use macros anymore, and it was a new method, and I wanted to learn. So I said to them, to the training company, do you do VBA? And they said, yes, we do. In our advanced course, I said, okay, I'd like to do that. So they booked me and I went through to the city of Cape Town and CBD and went to the course. I sat in the front row. There were about 20 people in the class. I was at a table, and there was a table next to me. Each table had a computer. And the teacher walks in, the instructor, and she says, who's been on the beginner's class? So about half the class put up their hands. Then she says, who's been on the intermediate class? So the other half put up their hands, and some of the first lot. Then she looks at me. She says, have you been on the beginners or the intermediate class? I said, no. She says, do you think you should be here? I said, I don't know. If it's too complicated, I'll leave. So she said, okay. So she says, click on an Excel spreadsheet on the desktop and press enter. And the person next to me didn't know where enter was. And so it went on. And in that day, I learned one new thing that I've never used, and we didn't do any VBA. So you can imagine that I didn't recommend any of that course to anybody. The one good thing that came out of it was I got a beautiful certificate saying Advanced Excel Expert. But I knew that I was more advanced than every single other person in that class, because when you have a computer science honors degree, when you have 10 years of experience, when you've spent 3 months writing a sophisticated advanced Excel macro-based system, and you've done programming and so on, then you are more expert than beginners who are using Excel. Interestingly, recently I did a project for somebody analyzing the tariff, the electricity tariff, using Excel spreadsheets and a year of data, using KVA and kilowatt hours and peak demand, KVA demand, and a whole lot of other information, and prices and tariffs, and comparing tariffs, and working out how they could add more PV, photovoltaic panels to the roof without losing their time of use tariffs, what they needed to peak shaving, how to do that, how much peak shaving to do. And a colleague and I wrote a very sophisticated Excel spreadsheet workbook to make that happen and display it visually in a good graph. And my colleague said, wow, David, you're so advanced when it comes to Excel. But you never know how advanced you are, because you work with other people who are even more advanced than you are. And that's always the case, because some people work in Excel all day and they know stuff that I don't know. I don't work in Excel all day. I use Excel as a tool, as in when I need to do it. So my feeling about training is that you should learn as much as you can before you go on the training course, and you should use the training course to tidy up the things you don't know. And that'll be the subject of my next talk. Good morning and good afternoon and good evening. Thanks for being on my channel and for supporting me and loving me. I love you too, and I bless you.